Hi everyone, so today I'll be doing a review on the limited edition Kringle Candle in the scent Cherry Pie, large 2-wick 100% soy format. It has a retail price of $31. However, I didn't pay $31 because I used an ambassador code. I'm not an ambassador, but you are able to use codes on this candle. Anyways, the scent description listed online reads, Cherry Pie captures the essence of summer in every slice, bright cherry and golden pastry, warm from the oven, juicy fruit and a splash of citrus. Add a sun-kissed twist while buttery vanilla lingers like the perfect finish to a backyard picnic, sweet, nostalgic, and irresistible. Fragrance notes: top, cherry pastry, mid, fruit citrus, base, buttery, and vanilla. My pour date is April 15th, 2025. But okay, let's briefly talk about the label, which I adore. I love the white and red gingham picnic cloth along with the plate that has a cherry pie on it with like little fresh cherries to the other side. I always had a critique that I wish that Kringle would make their labels slightly less opaque so you're able to see more of the flame, but that's besides the point. And it does have this very nice creamy white wax to it, which up to right now hasn't gotten discolored, but it has sooted, and I'll get to that when I talk more about the performance. To talk about the scent, so when I smelled this on cold, it didn't smell too cooked or syrupy to my nose, which I know some cherry fragrances can come off artificial leaning like cherry cough syrup, but that's not what I get at all. I got a vague pie note, but it's not too crust heavy in my opinion. I have watched and read other people's reviews where they say that there is a heavy emphasis on like a pie crust note. While I can kind of detect it, I feel like it's not done because I'm used to Bath and Body Works candles that it's very much in your face that it's a baked pie crust note. And I think this is done more, I guess, discreetly. Whereas I think other candles, I would say that I can picture it. I think this is more of a buttery vanilla, borderline dough type of a scent, at least to me. So also, when I smelled this on cold, it reminded me a little bit of black cherries, or specifically black cherry merlot. And I think the main reason why is because it reminded me slightly of body care. And I think I understand why. This butter note almost leans a little bit like cherry almond, and I always equate that to body care. So there is, to my nose, something inedible about this. I wouldn't say it's 100% true to life cherry pie. I do get a little bit of that cherry almond body care leaning, even though that's not listed. Thankfully, I don't get a ton of citrus. I feel like, or any citrus at all, I feel like that would detract from the realistic, I guess, feel that this candle is going for. If anything, I think the citrus note might just make the cherry note a little bit brighter. So what I am picking up is a ton of this almost like milky bread smell. And to me, that's not pie crust. I feel like pie crust is a little bit more crumbly, solid thing, and I'm getting more of a smooth scent, if that makes sense at all. Yeah, I do detect almond, and I think that if you're a little bit, I guess, not so sensitive to that scent, you might miss it or you might not pick it up when you smell it. But I really enjoy almond fragrances, and I think that's why I'm able to pick up on it. So I would say instead of getting this crumbly, baked, maybe borderline a little bit crunchy pie crust note, I'm getting more of this smooth, creamy, buttery scent. So in my opinion, that does still remind me of a bakery, but there is maybe about maybe 5 or 10% body care note mixed in there. So I would say the cherry almond note that I'm getting is mixed in with another creamy milk scent. And it smells pretty lactonic even when I go to burn it. Actually, it smells more lactonic when I'm burning it versus on cold, because on cold, I pick up a lot more on that brighter red cherry note. But okay, let's talk about the strength on cold. I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. While burning, that was a different story. So unfortunately, this is a Kringle candle that didn't really perform well for me. I always burn my any candle in my medium-sized bedroom right at the corner of my room. When it was performing not so great, it was maybe about a 5 out of 10, which I would categorize that as a light fragrance. And at the strongest, it would maybe be a 7 out of 10. and it was a 7 out of 10 because there was some hot flames and sooting issues which developed. I didn't even have this candle burning for more than 4 hours. It was sooting at like around hour 2.5. So unfortunately, I did have some performance issues. To talk about more specifically the performance, actually, let me show you how it looks like from an overhead view because you are able to notice the accumulation of soot. I don't wipe down my candles. I just kind of let them do its thing so you can get an accurate representation of how it looks like without, me wiping it, without having a hurricane on it. So I've just been burning this the normal way. I have been trimming my wicks because I noticed that especially the first like 4 burns, I got some crazy mushroom tops and my wicks became very long. So it was sitting even though I was trimming it every single time. And I think that this is a Kringle candle that you need to trim a little bit more than you normally would, which I think normally people just knock off that little carbon ball that forms at the top. Okay, so this is how my candle looks like around hour 3. I've burned about maybe 40% of the candle, and I do have a little bit of a mushroom fallout, but it's probably not visible right now, and it's only one piece, but that thankfully hasn't distorted the scent of the remaining wax, and it hasn't made it become murky. But I feel like looks can be deceiving because if you go further up, I have quite a bit of soot. I think this is one of the sootiest Kringle candles that I've burned so far. But okay, it takes about 45 minutes for this candle to pull out, or I think it maybe took about more 50 minutes to an hour during my first burn. And for the first burn, I did trim my wicks. Even so, again, I got those crazy mushroom tops, and I actually extinguished it after around 2.5 hours, and the strength was maybe about a 6.5 out of 10. Again, I said that it got up to about a 7 out of 10, but that was when it was just sooting so much. So I have a feeling that I could smell it more because I was less generous with my trims. But right now, even though I'm almost at the halfway mark, I noticed that in order to combat the soot, I trim a little bit more, but then again, that decreases my strength and throw of the candle. So right now, after trimming it, I would say to 1/4 of an inch, the strength and throw is about a 5 out of 10. Actually, with the AC that just turned on, oddly enough, my family decided let's turn on the AC. I feel like that doesn't help the scent in this case. Sometimes when the AC turns on, I feel like that helps spread the scent, but not in this case. The thing that really does help when I burn in my medium-sized bedroom is if I close the door. But I normally burn the candles in my room with the door open so I can get an idea of how well the candle throws. When it was sitting earlier on, I would say the first 5 burns or so, it got all the way towards the beginning of the hallway. But again, I don't really want soot to kind of just wafting out. I did see it coming from the flames, but it threw the scent pretty well. So I'm debating whether I should keep my wicks a little bit longer and maybe I'll enjoy it a bit more because right now I'm not really enjoying it. It's a bit too light for my preference. But where was I? I feel like this is a candle that the scent does change when you go to burn it. While I get the cherry, like the tart, juicy cherry note more on cold, I feel like right now, if I get really close to it, that is, I get more of this milky bread note. And I feel like it really highlights the base notes of the butteriness and the vanilla of the fragrance. And I have a feeling that the pastry note, instead of it being this like crunchy pie crust or an already baked pie, it's more like this softer bread. At least that's what I'm getting. And I think I would enjoy more of a crumbly note. I almost forgot to mention, but earlier on when the candle was sooting more and the scent was stronger, I feel like that fragrance lingered in my medium-sized bedroom for up to an hour. Right now, I'm not really getting much. So when I extinguish it during the lighter burns, I feel like it doesn't really, it doesn't fill up the room, right? So how can it linger in the air? So yeah, that's the only thing is that the performance hasn't been consistent. Sometimes I get maybe like a very extremely low 4.5, 5, and then other times, which have been few and far between, have been about a 7 out of 10. But then again, I think it's because I'm managing the soot accumulation a bit better. So right now, there shouldn't be any B-roll besides how my candle looks like presently. So you can see right here, I haven't wiped it or anything except for that one time that I like just stuck my finger so you could see the soot. So on this side, it's not too bad, but then on this side, it's a lot. Oh, right here, that's where I wiped my finger, and it's a bit hot. So yeah, I'm not sure why this is happening. The wax is pretty clear. I have a pretty deep wax pool going right now. So I just think that this isn't a good performance for a candle. So unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend this candle, and I wouldn't repurchase. I would maybe say that potentially, since Kringle did pour a new batch for people who missed out on it during the first drop, potentially that I guess that batch could be better than mine because I did get it the first go around. But overall, I think this will be a one and done for me. I think it's a very lovely scent. As someone who likes cherry fragrances, I'm still almost certain that even though this does not list almond, I feel like there is a little bit of an almond note in there. It's a really nice scent. In another world, I think this could be classified as like a cherry croissant candle, but not one that's overly flaky. So unfortunately, I haven't had the best experience with this cherry pie candle. Granted, the scent is lovely. Do I feel like I get a lot of a baked pie crust? Definitely not. I feel like if I wanted more of a pie crust note, I'd probably have to buy some vendor wax and then melt that as I am burning this, because I legit am getting more of a buttery vanilla milky bread smell mingled in with juicy cherries that aren't overly syrup-like. This candle is limited edition, so if you don't buy it now, I think there's no guarantee that Kringle will go ahead and repour this for a second time. But I think I can't recommend it because one, it's a bit weak. Two, when it has performed, it was at most a 7 out of 10 in my medium-sized room. But three, it was sooting a lot, and I wasn't even burning it for more than 4 hours, which I always keep my burn time under 4. But if it's sitting at hour 2.5, there's no helping this candle. And it's not like I want to burn this in my bathroom. So yeah, this just hasn't been like a good experience, but the scent is really lovely. That's the cliff notes of my review. So I don't know, let me know, is this a fluke? Potentially, maybe the second repour batch has performed better. But yeah, I think secretly though, if I wanted, I could have wiped off the soot from this candle and no one would ever know that I had performance issues. But yeah, the wax itself is pretty clean. I only have one little fault, like mushroom top, that fell into my wax. Let me know, do you also pick up a cherry almond scent? Because I definitely get that more, and it's very buttery as well. So that's one thing that I like about it, but I'm still like, I wish there was maybe about like 30 or 40% more of a crunchy, already baked pie crust note. But I feel like if you bought this candle solely for the baked pie crust note, I don't think this candle delivers that. I feel like it kind of delivers it, but it leaves you, or it leaves me, wanting a bit more. But again, I do have to say, I really enjoy the fragrance. So let me know what's been your experience like with Kringle Candle's Cherry Pie. I, again, wouldn't repurchase this unless it went down to 50% off, or heck, I'd say yes to a 75% off candle. But then again, I don't think it would stick around long enough for it to go down to 50% off, let alone 75% off. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.